Hello and welcome to Fast and Factual. My name is Utsav Parekh and here are the top stories of the day. Russia and Ukraine have agreed to stop military strikes in the Black Sea. This will allow for the safe shipping of agricultural exports through the waterway. This deal was brokered by US negotiators who held marathon talks with both sides separately in Saudi Arabia. Russia and Ukraine have also agreed to halt attacks on each other's energy facilities. US President Donald Trump has signed an executive order changing US election rules. Under the order, all voters must show proof of citizenship in federal elections. They must present a passport or other government-issued proof of citizenship when registering to vote. Trump's order also mandates that only ballots received by the end of election day will be counted. This means mailed ballots arriving later will not be valid. US Vice President J.D. Vance has said he will visit Greenland this week. He will be joining his wife, Usha Vance. Her trip to the Danish Autonomous Territory was announced earlier. Denmark's Prime Minister, Mette Frederiksen, has joined Greenlandic officials in condemning the visit by the US delegation. This is because US President Donald Trump has been threatening to take over Greenland. The unrest in Turkey shows no signs of abating. Close to 1,500 people have been detained as the country is witnessing its biggest protests in over a decade. The demonstrations were sparked by the arrest of Istanbul's mayor, Ekrem İmamoğlu, last week. He is considered President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's main political rival. Turkish authorities have initiated a crackdown on dissent, but the anti-government protesters have vowed to keep up their demonstrations. In Gaza, hundreds of Palestinians staged protests against Hamas. The group has governed Gaza since 2007. Palestinian demonstrators chanted "Hamas out" and called for peace. It was a rare display of public dissent. Iran's military has showcased a new underground missile city. The video was released by Iranian state media. It showed various armed vehicles lined up with ballistic missiles and other weapons. Iran's army chief was spotted walking over an Israeli flag on the ground. Alexander Lukashenko was sworn in as the president of Belarus again. This marks the beginning of his 7th presidential term. He secured victory in the elections held in January this year. He has extended his more than 20-year-long grip on power for another 5 years. Thailand's Prime Minister, Paetongtarn Shinawatra, has survived a no-confidence vote. She secured 319 votes in her favor, as opposed to 161 against her. At least 7 lawmakers abstained. Thailand's opposition accuses Shinawatra of nepotism and policy failures. They say her decisions are influenced by her father, former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra. Peru is set to hold its next general election in April 2026. This was announced yesterday by the country's president, Dina Boluarte. Peruvian voters will elect their president, vice presidents, and members of Congress. Boluarte said that the move is intended to restore stability in Peru and prevent disruptions to investment. A 4.2 magnitude earthquake has hit the Hebei province in northern China. The epicenter was just 13 kilometers away from Beijing. Tremors were felt in the Chinese capital and nearby areas, but no major damage has been reported so far. Moving to climate news, massive wildfires in South Korea have killed at least 18 people. The fires have forced over 27,000 to flee. The wildfires are raging in the country's southeastern region. Strong winds and dry weather have fueled the flames. South Korean authorities have deployed military and emergency personnel to help contain the disaster. Meanwhile, a wildfire in Japan's Ehime prefecture has forced over 1,000 residents to evacuate. It has burned through more than 200 hectares of land. Firefighters and Japan's self-defense forces are working to contain the blaze. A powerful hailstorm in Spain's Malaga province has turned roads into icy rivers. This adds to the country's recent streak of extreme weather. Scientists link the drastic shifts between droughts and heavy rainfall to climate change. New research says that methane emissions from an Australian mine could be higher than previously reported. It suggests that Queensland's Hale Creek coal mine could be releasing 3 to 8 times more methane than they report. The new study is backed by the United Nations. Researchers used aircraft to monitor methane emissions. This raises concerns over underreported greenhouse gas levels from Australia's coal industry. The International Monetary Fund has agreed to a new $1.3 billion loan program for Pakistan. This decision is pending IMF board approval. The deal aims to support Pakistan's economic recovery and climate adaptation efforts. Pakistan narrowly avoided default in 2023. Reports say it has stabilized its economy since then under stringent IMF conditions. In business news, global oil prices increased yesterday over concerns of the US trying to limit Venezuelan and Iranian oil exports. The price rise was also backed by a bigger-than-expected drop in US crude inventories. Brent crude futures gained 0.21% to $73.22 a barrel. US West Texas Intermediate futures also rose by 0.23% to $69.16 a barrel. A US judge has set a trial date for a criminal fraud case against the aircraft maker Boeing. The date for the trial is June 23rd. The lawsuit has been filed by the US Justice Department. It stems from Boeing's alleged misrepresentations to US agencies. Last July, the company agreed to plead guilty to a criminal fraud conspiracy charge. It also agreed to pay a fine of around $487 million. This followed 2 fatal crashes involving Boeing's 737 MAX jets. Canada has frozen oil rebate payments for Tesla. The rebates were part of an electric vehicle subsidy program by the Canadian government. This freeze comes after Tesla reportedly filed an extraordinary number of EV rebate claims in January. A single Tesla dealership in Quebec City claimed nearly $20 million Canadian dollars in public subsidies. The dealership documented more than 4,000 electric vehicle sales over a single weekend. Meanwhile, Tesla has announced that it will launch its cars in Saudi Arabia next month. The launch is scheduled for the 10th of April. This comes as the EV maker has witnessed a sales slump in Europe. Tokyo Gas has said that it aims to almost double its net profit in the 2026 fiscal year. The Japanese gas provider expects its net profit to grow to about $871 million from around $478 million this year. Tokyo Gas also has plans to expand in the US. The Brazil-based meat packer JBS has posted a sharp rise in its net profit in the final quarter of 2024. The company reported a profit of over $423 million for that quarter. This is despite the company's US beef division grappling with high cattle prices. The US has blacklisted 6 more subsidiaries of the China-based cloud computing provider Inspur Group. The Trump administration has also added dozens of other Chinese entities to its export restrictions. According to the US Commerce Department, the Inspur units contributed to the development of supercomputers for the Chinese military. US-based Ripple Labs has agreed to settle a Securities and Exchange Commission lawsuit for $50 million. The case pertains to the alleged sale of unregistered securities. The company was slapped with a $125 million fine in August. Dell Technologies reduced its workforce by about 10% in 2024. The company said it had about 108,000 employees as of January 31st, as opposed to 120,000 employees last year. The announcement was made as Dell released its annual report. The Vietnamese government has said that it will allow the SpaceX Starlink satellite internet service on a trial basis. The trial will last until the end of 2030. SpaceX is being allowed to provide fixed and mobile service plans, including services on flights across Vietnam. However, the Vietnamese government has limited the subscribers at 600,000 for the trial period. Now we move to sports news, and we start with cricket. Punjab beat Gujarat by 11 runs in the fifth T20 clash of the ongoing Indian Premier League. After winning the toss, Gujarat elected to bowl first, powered by Shreyas Iyer's 97-run knock of just 42 balls. Punjab put 243 runs on the scoreboard. In response, Gujarat could only score 232 runs, as they fell 11 runs short of chasing down their 244-run target. In football, Argentina beat arch-rivals Brazil 4-1 in their World Cup qualifier clash. Julian Alvarez struck the opening goal at the start of the match, with Enzo Fernandez extending the Argentine lead to 2-0 shortly after. Brazil's Matheus Cunha struck the lone goal for his team in the 26th minute, but Alexis McAllister and Guilherme Simon extended Argentina's lead to 4-1 to finally win the game. Indonesia secured a crucial 1-0 win in their World Cup qualifier against Bahrain in Jakarta. Ole Romeni scored the lone goal of the game in the 24th minute to increase Indonesia's chances of reaching the 2026 World Cup. India and Bangladesh played a goalless draw in the Asian Cup qualifiers in Shillong. India mustered a grand total of 2 shots on target on goal in over 90 minutes of football to close their Asian Cup qualifiers with the draw. India will next face Hong Kong on the 10th of June. Former FIFA President Sepp Blatter and French football great Michel Platini were cleared of corruption charges by a Swiss court. The case related to a $2.26 million payment Blatter authorized for Platini, a former captain and manager of the French national side, in the year 2011. In tennis, women's world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka entered the Miami Open semi-finals. The 26-year-old beat China's Qin Wenchang 6-2, 7-5 in the quarterfinals. The win paved the way for Sabalenka's first-ever semi-final appearance in Miami. Women's world number 7, Jasmine Paolini, became the first Italian woman to reach the Miami Open semi-finals. Paolini beat Magda Linette of Poland 6-3, 6-2 in the quarters. The Italian will meet world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka in the semis. Serbian legend Novak Djokovic cruised past Italy's Lorenzo Musetti to enter the Miami Open quarterfinals. In front of Serena Williams and Del Potro, among the other spectators, the 24-time Grand Slam winner beat his Italian rival 6-2, 6-2. Djokovic will next be up against Sebastian Korda of the United States in the quarters. Men's world number 4, Taylor Fritz, entered the Miami Open quarters as well. The American beat Australia's Adam Walton 6-3, 7-5 in their round of 16 clash. Fritz will next face Italy's Matteo Berrettini in the quarters. Australia announced the building of a new 63,000-seater stadium in Brisbane as the centerpiece of the 2032 Olympic and Paralympic Games. The multi-sport arena will host the opening and closing ceremonies as well as the athletes. The plans will see the new stadium become Brisbane's home for cricket, with the famous Gaza Stadium to be demolished following the Games. In entertainment news, the limited series Adolescence has set a new Netflix record. It has amassed 66.3 million views in just 11 days. It surpassed all previous two-week records for limited series viewership. Other popular shows on the platform this week include The Residence, Running Point, and the live wrestling special Raw 2025. British actor Nick Frost is reportedly close to securing the role of Hagrid in HBO's upcoming Harry Potter reboot. While HBO has yet to confirm this, the network acknowledged the ongoing casting process and the high level of speculation surrounding the series. Travis Scott is bringing his Circus Maximus Stadium tour to India. He will be performing in New Delhi on October 18, 2025. The rapper also announced stops in Africa, South Korea, China, and Japan as part of his global tour. FKA Twigs has postponed her Chicago, Toronto, and New York shows. This is due to visa-related paperwork errors by her production team. The singer expressed frustration over the logistical challenges, but assured fans that she hopes to return soon. The first trailer for Final Destination Bloodlines has been released. This marks the franchise's return after nearly a decade. The film follows the series' signature premise, which is that death is hunting down the survivors of a catastrophic event. However, it comes with a new twist centered around a college student trying to save her family. That's all for this episode of Fast and Factual. Thank you for watching and stay tuned to Firstpost.